Hey everybody, how's it going? On today's video, we are going to be talking about The Merry Wives of Windsor. This is an audiobook I recently got into because I saw Luke Daniels showing off this new audiobook because he narrated it and written a little side story about it and explained some things. And you get to know a little bit more about Luke Daniels through this audiobook. So, like I said, this is The Merry Wives of Windsor. The authors are obviously William Shakespeare and Luke Daniels, because he has a little part in there, as I said before. And narrator, like I said before, Luke Daniels. And the duration of this audiobook is 4 hours and 11 minutes long. So the summary for this, The Merry Wives of Windsor, is basically this skeezy knight is trying to go after two women, both married. So at this time frame of William Shakespeare's story, it was very unheard of, very uh, you know, dishonorable. And this knight just doesn't have many prospects in the financial or political area. So he's just trying to, I guess, get it on with these two. And they both figure out like that very quickly. It was like nothing to figure this out. And they didn't just want to bring it up and have it dealt with. They wanted to go have some fun, pull some pranks on this guy. So they get through the story of pulling pranks and it comes to resolve in the end. But there's just a bunch of shenanigans throughout this story. And to let this sucker know that you can't mess with the wives of Windsor. So great story. Loved it. Have thoughts about it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into those thoughts. I might have mentioned this before. If I didn't, I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video where you can get a better description if you want to from Audible and get a little sample of the audio book through Audible's little sample button that they have on there nowadays. So my thoughts on this is first, this is a William Shakespeare novel, narrated by a fantastic narrator that I love, especially in the lit RPG progression fantasy area. But still, this is a William Shakespeare novel. Old, like the weird, not the weird, but the specific language that is used throughout it is, I feel like if you read a lot and if you read classics and if you even had some experience with Shakespeare or a lot of experience with William Shakespeare's works, then you can kind of still understand what's going on. There's a lot of explanations in the beginning of the audiobook and more in the end. This is an audiobook that I'm definitely going to go ahead and get into more times to even understand more things. I feel like the more I go through this audiobook and listen to it, I will understand more and more. The first time around was still like pretty good, and I really enjoyed the experience. And I had little satisfying moments of feeling like I got the hang of what was being said. I'm like, yes. So it was like a little mental workout and a little mental stimulus that I really enjoyed. Now I know that's not for everybody, that you just kind of want to be like, listen to your audiobook or read your book and just kind of be able to understand and keep going and keep moving and grooving. But this was definitely not that one. And you have to, well, in my experience, you have to really pay attention to what is being said. But Luke Daniels does a fantastic job with the narration. And I've cracked up. I thought it was very funny, and especially when I could understand what was being said, is very much like, oh, I got that one. Like kudos to me, but also like it was just very entertaining to hear his voice in this way. Very different from the usual stories that I listened to him. I first bumped into his narrating skills in All the Skills. It is a gamelet, I think, progression fantasy book that I feel like that's the first time I really got into Luke Daniels' narrating career. But yeah, so does a great job with narrating and does a great job with explanations because he gets more into not just narrating the story, but he writes a little bit of a short story that's kind of in the William Shakespeare the kind of flavor of things, and that was really great at the end. It's all after the story and doing some explanations. And also, he talks a little bit about his backstory with William Shakespeare and his works and how that has affected his life, which was really cool and interesting to get into. With get a little know a little bit more about the narrator that narrates so many of the books that I've listened to. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think if you can understand or want to tolerate some of the things that is, because this is definitely not a audiobook for everybody. There's definitely stuff that you probably won't even want to spend your time with. You may not even enjoy the classics. You might really find it hard to get into any of William Shakespeare's works. But again, this is only a 4 hour and 11-minute audiobook and done by a fantastic narrator. So I think is pretty approachable. That's how I kind of took it as, because I haven't listened to any of his works, longer works, but I saw this, I did a little more research, and I was interested, and I dived in, and it was a good time, and I highly recommend it. So, without further ado, I would definitely highly encourage you to check this out and give it a chance. But again, if you're someone that can't stand how Shakespeare writes or doesn't like doing anything with classics, and you only want that new, fresh stuff, hot off the press with living authors, then I guess authors that are like more modern, then this might not be the audiobook for you. But I'd highly recommend, again, just for you to check it out. But yeah, really loved it. What I am currently listening to slash reading right now is The Ether Smith. This is a book that I saw on social media that was touted as, hey, there's this new audiobook. Here's kind of the backstory, and it's a great thing. Great audiobook to get into. I did some research and went to Audible, read the summary for the first book, and then saw or listened to the sample. And when the sample gets you, it's just very much like, all right, I'm getting the credit. I'm gonna go buy this and be done with it. And yeah, it's been going really, really, really well. So yeah, what are you reading or listening to right now? Let me know in the comments of this video. And I hope I found you a new experience, a new audiobook to get into. And if not, I'm glad that I saved you some time and kind of saved you some credits and some money. So yeah, well, without further ado, I'm going to let you go, and I'll talk to you guys later. All right? Toodles!